I'm Dr. Stephen Trudeau, otherwise known as the Psych on the Bike. I believe that just surviving, just getting by is not good enough, that we are destined to actually thrive. And that's what I'm on a mission to do. Not only thrive for myself, but to find out from other thrivers who are succeeding at life what it is they do exactly that helps them to live a glorious life. Come with me on this journey as we check out some pretty interesting people. So, I'm here with Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones, internationally known author, keynote speaker, and spiritual advisor as well.
Mentor.
Spiritual mentor.
Yes.
All right then. Yeah. It's more than advice you dispense, but mentoring, which takes people from one place to another.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Mentoring is about looking to somebody who perhaps has wisdom to impart to you, to awaken that wisdom within you. It's not like they're giving you something, they're helping you find it within yourself.
Ah, so you just are a catalyst.
Right. It's all about self-discovery.
Right.
I have nothing to give anybody else except to guide them back to discover that truth within themselves.
I'm going to ask for your guidance.
Okay.
Because in this series, Courage to Thrive, I'm asking people who are actually thriving, what do you do that makes that happen? So I've developed my series of questions here.
All right.
And let's get started.
Let's do it.
All right, number one. How do you define thriving?
Thrive.
By laughter, obviously.
Thriving is to grow. It's that in whatever you're doing, there is a sense of success with it.
Mm-hmm.
To thrive is to push out. As I mentioned to you in our conversation prior, everything that is alive is thriving. Life force is pushing through living things, causing all living things to thrive.
Yeah.
It's when they stop growing that they cease thriving.
Okay. All right. So how do you know that you are thriving? What is your evidence?
To hold myself accountable to continue to grow, to add more content to my mind and my soul. And I do that by virtue of learning new things and by expanding my experiences in life. Always being willing to come to the edge of what I know and lean over into what I don't know, because that's where growth happens.
Okay.
You can't grow from within the field of what you already know. Because
Okay,
all you're going to do is create another version of what you already know. The only way to grow, to thrive, is to continue to come to the edge of what you know, step out of the box,
Mm-hmm.
and into the unknown.
You told me earlier that you were taking a pottery class.
Right.
To-
Yeah, at 65 years old. You know, I don't plan on opening up a pottery shack anyplace, but
That's not,
but for
why?
me-
Why do that?
Well,
Why?
because it was something I haven't done. I did it back in high school, but that was 50 years ago. I'm at a point in my life now where I've created time to do things that are not just work. You know,
Mhm.
and so for me, growing is also, I can have fun in growing and learning new things as well.
Mhm.
So taking a pottery class was a great way for me to jump into something that I don't really know about and learn from it and enjoy doing it at the same time.
So what I'm hearing is a sense of balance
Yeah.
between a previous period of hard work and now a period of exploration of things that interest you.
Yeah, balance is crucial with everything in life. That's Buddha taught the middle path. Not too much, not too little.
Mhm.
Not too in, not too out. Not too up, not too down. Not too much work, not too much play. In the middle is just right. Right?
I heard a great analogy that we are ghosts walking around in a meat-covered skeleton.
I like that.
But you have to take care of your meat-covered
That's right.
skeleton.
That's
Take
right.
care of it.
Yeah, sure. You have to respect it. And if you don't take care of your body, then your soul, what is your body? Your body is nothing more than a carbon-based disposable vessel that your soul, essence, rides around in
Exactly.
on the planet.
Yeah,
But it's still, you take care of your car,
indeed.
so
And my motorcycle.
yes. So learn to take care of your body is part of what will help you thrive.
Exactly. What is your daily spiritual tradition?
Definitely reading, something that is inspiring, something that feeds me spiritually and emotionally.
Well, you strike me as a guy who meditates a lot.
Over the years, how I meditate has changed, Stephen. I used to be very focused on the traditional form of meditation with cross legs and the Om and all that.
That hurts my knees.
Yeah, well, I don't do that anymore. But I sit in a chair and meditate.
Yeah.
But for me, the greatest spiritual practice that I've learned to live in on a daily basis is mindfulness. Mindfulness is simply living with your conscious awareness of the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
And as our bodies can't be any place other than in the present moment.
Right.
But where are our minds a lot of the time?
Yeah. Stress in the future or stress of the past.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're dragging the past with it behind us,
Mm-hmm.
or we're projecting ourselves into the future. Mindfulness allows us to bring our minds back into our body and be present with what we're doing in the moment.
Right now.
Right now. Because it's all you got.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the best book you've ever read on personal growth and development?
Well,
yeah, I know. Yeah, you're redefining moments, becoming who you were born to be. Not the best book you've written on personal growth and development. The best book you've ever read.
Well, again, for me to limit that to one book is almost impossible.
Sure, understand.
The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes was
Okay.
definitely at the core of that.
How did that change you?
It taught me to be responsible for my thoughts.
Okay.
You know, and to understand that I live in a spiritual universe. And when I couple my awareness, I live in a spiritual universe, with the fact that my thoughts, backed by my beliefs, are incredibly powerful, and it creates my reality, I learned to live mindfully, aware that my deepest beliefs create my experience. So why don't I, when I'm experiencing something that is not supporting my highest and well-being, why don't I challenge that action by looking at the belief behind it that's causing it?
Okay.
And so Science of Mind teaches that, you know. It teaches spirituality, but it teaches the law of cause and effect as well.
Who is the most important person that keeps you thriving, and why?
My wife, Diane. And the reason is that I can say that is that she's my partner in every way, and she continues to. Matter of fact, she's the one who encouraged me to take the pottery class.
Okay.
Okay, because she knows that I need to keep pushing the edges out too. So she's always supporting me in those ways, and she's not only, you know, my wife and my best friend and my playmate, but she's my partner in the business that we run together.
Mm-hmm.
And I could not be doing what I'm doing on the planet today without her support and backing me in that, and the role that she plays in all of that. So it's her, without question.
I think in personal growth we sometimes forget that we are indeed social creatures.
Yeah.
And we have to be careful who we draw into our lives to make that person important in our lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which historical figure do you find the most inspiring?
Well, I was going to say Attila the Hun, but I'm just kidding.
Alexander the Great.
Yeah. Again, there's more than one.
Sure.
I could look at throughout history as well as contemporary people are still on the planet, you know. But historical figures, as I said earlier in our conversation, St. Francis of Assisi.
St. Francis of Assisi, heavy thinker.
Heavy thinker. And he really walked a sacred planet too. He knew his connection with life, you know, in a lot of ways. The teacher Jesus, Buddha, Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
Contemporary.
Historical,
yeah. Transcendentalists.
Transcendentalists.
Yeah. Thoreau. Some great stuff out there.
The quote from Henry David Thoreau that just struck me so deeply was, and I'm going to only paraphrase a part of it because I don't know the whole thing, but the mass of men leading lives of quiet desperation. It is such an eloquently, beautifully written line, and yet it angers me because of the truth in it, that there is a mass of men and women leading lives of quiet desperation. That's why I want to thrive. I don't want to be that guy.
Well, you know, Stephen, that's a great point. We live by one of two ways: inspiration or desperation. We grow. You know, we're brought to the edge of change one of two ways. We're either inspired to come to the edge of lean over into something new and bigger to thrive, or we're pushed and dragged there by desperation, because it hurts too much to stay where we're at. You know, and I guess if you had a choice, would you rather be pushed to the edge of change by desperation or pulled by inspiration.
No, definitely inspired.
Yeah.
What personal creed do you live by?
Well, it goes way beyond do unto others. My creed is to live with reverence.
Reverence.
Reverence. Reverence is to look past the shell of things and connect with the life force. It's to look past a physical body and connect with that aspect of you that I believe is the sacred presence of life, of God, Spirit, whatever you'd like to call it. So to live with reverence is to live with an awareness that life is a sacred experience. And any place you see living things, there's infinite intelligence there. And to live in a manner that you honor that and respect it and treat it well and with kindness and compassion, it brings out the highest and best in everyone.
It goes beyond being just reverent to somebody who's exalted.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like we said, it's easy to consider you treat someone such as the Dalai Lama with great reverence. You know.
Yeah, sure.
But how about your child, or your wife, or your mother, or your neighbor, you know, or the homeless person on the street corner? Is there any less life force, any less of infinite presence, God, whatever you want to call it, living within that person than there is the Dalai Lama? Of course not. No. It's just that we see it more in one person than another. So reverence helps us be able to see it in all beings.
I like that. I like that. What one life skill do you wish you could teach your younger self, teenager self?
Trust.
Remember when you were a teenager?
Yeah. No, it's definitely trust. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Trust.
Yeah. Trust. Learn to. If I could go back and talk to myself at 14 years old, I would give myself the advice to learn to trust life. Trust yourself. Trust that there's something within you that knows how to make the right choices.
But as a teenager, I'm such a screw up. And as an adult, I'm scared of trusting people because they've betrayed me.
Yeah, that's... well, trust doesn't mean you don't have wisdom with it. Of course, young people, you know, wisdom comes with age, doesn't it? It comes
sometimes.
Well, yeah, if we're lucky. It comes with experience. Right?
Okay.
But trust, too many of us came up through our childhoods with experiences that kind of gave us the message that life wasn't a safe place. And so we go into adulthood acting that way and being defensive and covered over. And we live small lives because of that. Okay? That's this book, The Art of Uncertainty, is about learning how to trust, to come to the edge of what you know and lean over. Because that's where life is waiting for us to show up.
You have to break out of your comfort zone. But outside of the comfort zone is the terror zone. But in between is the courage zone. That's where I'm focusing my efforts right now, is on that courage part.
Yeah.
To get out
but
there.
It's still the unknown.
It is indeed.
Okay? And the unknown is where life is waiting for us to show up.
Say that again. I like that.
The unknown is where life is waiting for us to show up.
Ooh, that's sweet. Ooh, it's juicy.
It's true, though.
I'm going to quote you on that.
Good.
Is there a self-soothing skill, strategy, or technique that you rely on when all else fails?
Yeah, breathing.
Number one answer.
Yeah, if you're watching, take a breath. Now consider this. Think about the idea we breathe, obviously, all the time. Try going without it. Right?
I turned blue.
Yeah, but we take it for granted. We take our next breath for granted.
Often.
Think about this. The very first thing we did when we came to the planet was to take a breath in. Our very first thing was an in-breath. And the last thing we'll do when we leave the planet is to breathe out, to let go of that last breath. And it's all the breaths we take between those 2 points that we take for granted.
Yeah.
And if we could live consciously enough to breathe mindfully, we'd find ourselves in the present moment, we'd find ourselves invigorated, we'd find ourselves feeling one with life.
What is the most important concept that gives your life meaning?
Is to be able to answer 3 questions on a daily basis and use an affirmative yes for all 3 of the questions. The first question is, am I having fun every day? Okay. We're not put here just to suck air and jam stuff down our pie hole and do work until the day we leave the planet. We're also put here to be a vessel for joy. Okay. And that requires that we always learn how to be present in the moment, because that's where fun happens. Fun doesn't happen tomorrow or yesterday. It's always when you're in the present moment and you're having fun, you realize that there's no such thing as the past or the future, because you're in the moment. The second question is, am I growing every day? Am I growing every day? And we talked earlier about the concept of the root-bound plant.
Okay, yeah.
And have you ever seen a potted plant that was root-bound? What's going on with it?
You know, the roots are turning inwards, are running out of soil and
right.
nutrients.
The roots are turning inwards, it's choking itself off, and that plant will die. Right?
Eventually, yeah.
It will.
Yeah.
But what happens when you take that root-bound potted plant and put it in a larger pot or vessel or container?
Now it can grow.
The roots turn out again, and life force surges through that plant because it's now found its purpose again. It has life moving through it. Right? And I often say in my keynote talks, when we're talking to people about getting out of their comfort zone and growing, a lot of us, we need to repot ourselves. And while it's a metaphor, there's a lot of wisdom in the idea of being able to step into a larger growing environment, which requires us, again, to come to the edge of what we know and step into the unknown. Yeah. Because that's where growth happens.
Indeed.
The third question is, am I serving others on a daily basis?
Oh, okay.
Am I lifting others? It doesn't have to be in big ways. It can be very small ways. Picking up broken glass along the side of the highway is serving others.
Or giving somebody a smile.
Yes, exactly right. It doesn't have to be big things. But to know every day that I'm having fun, that I'm growing, that I'm lifting others, serving others, is to live a life of purpose and meaning.
That makes sense. What goal are you working on now? Like a bucket list item, other than the pottery?
Yeah, pottery. No. I'm getting ready to write this next book.
Already another book?
Yeah.
This one was just released?
Yeah, June. And the publisher has already contacted me and said, let's talk about the next one. And that caused a little bit of stress for me, because it takes a tremendous amount of focus and discipline. And discipline is something that didn't come easy to me. I had to really work at learning how to discipline myself.
That's one of the problems. I think when I observe somebody who lives a life who's thriving, it appears easy. From my side of the block, looking over at you, it appears easy. But it takes
the D word
discipline.
Sends shivers down many spines, because it requires leaning in and going outside of our it's about understanding the difference between instant gratification and delayed gratification.
Ooh.
Okay. Instant gratification is my goodness. When I sit down to write, sometimes my mind wants me to go, I'll check my email or take
play with your dog. Max.
Exactly. Yeah. And instant gratification is our greatest enemy when it comes to accomplishing anything worth doing.
Okay.
And delayed gratification is doing the work now, and then when the book hits the market, you say, this is delayed gratification because I put the time and discipline into it, so it actually got here.
Right, exactly.
Instant gratification will never get your book out.
I was told once that one measure of maturity is the ability to delay gratification of immediate needs for a future purpose.
Yeah, yes, definitely a measure of maturity.
Yeah. How would you like to be remembered? What is your legacy? The epitaph on your gravestone.
On my headstone, I would say, to be continued.
To be continued.
I'll be back. No.
Yes.
I'd like to see the words inscribed, and even the words inscribed don't really matter as much as knowing in my mind when I leave the planet that I would like it to say, he mattered.
He mattered.
Or he made a difference. Okay? And I think that at the end of the day, that's really the question that we all hold in our hearts, is to know that when we leave this planet, that somehow it's a better planet than it was when we got here because we were here.
Yeah. Yeah. We mattered to somebody. We mattered to the world.
Yeah.
Very nice. What piece of wisdom or skill would you like the rest of the world to know?
That they matter.
Ooh.
Okay, that you wouldn't be on the planet if you didn't matter, and it's twofold. Who you are matters. You need to get clear on the fact that who you are as an individual matters.
Already.
Yes. Yeah, you're given an amazing gift. It's called the gift of life. and to live consciously in the awareness of that gift. You know, in Indian tradition, there's the thing called the three miracles. The first miracle is that anything exists.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. It's a pretty darn amazing thing.
Yeah.
The second miracle is that living things exist. You know, palm trees and dogs and flowers and birds. And the third thing is, third miracle is that living things exist that know they exist.
Ooh, awareness.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
It's a tremendous, life is a tremendous gift.
Yeah.
And when we begin to live consciously aware of the gift, then we begin to do things with the gift of ourselves
Mm-hmm.
that honor the giver of the gift.
That matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Wow. Okay. Your redefining moments, becoming who you were born to be, amazing, breaking out of your shell.
Mm-hmm.
The art of uncertainty, how to live in the mystery of life and love it. I like that. And the art of being, 101 ways to practice purpose in your life. And this is my introduction to you. This
Right.
was the one that got me going on you and saying, wow, I mean, I actually have things I can do that will give me purpose, that will make me feel like I matter.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Thank you very, very, very much. And thank you for sharing your wisdom with our lovely audience. So.